Hi, Year 2. Wow, it's nice to speak to you again. It seems ages. I hope everybody had a lovely half term. So today we're going to be doing some work on temperature. I'm afraid it's not as exciting as Mrs. Druss Meter Monsters yesterday. I've been stuck with the boring stuff. But we're going to try our best anyway, and I'm sure we're going to do some great work. So we're going to think about temperature today. Do you know anything about temperature? What does that word mean? Have a little think. Brilliant. So temperature is about how hot or cold something is. And if you've been coming into school, and even before we finished school, we were zapping you every day to check your temperature, weren't we? So we use something called a thermometer to check how hot something is. And we're going to be looking at reading the scales on a thermometer today. So temperature. So in Britain, where we live in England, temperature is measured in degrees Celsius, and we do that with a C there, okay? And the degrees bit is this little circle here. So to make water freeze, there's something called a freezing point. So water freezes at 0 degrees C. So when we made our ice cubes for some of our science experiments, the water would have started freezing when it got to 0 degrees C. Now the boiling point, that's when water starts bubbling of something, is 100 degrees C. So these are some interesting facts about temperature. Now, room temperature, so that's what your houses are usually like, the temperature in school. If you go into any building, the temperature is usually between 15 degrees C and 25 degrees C. 25 degrees C is when it's kind of a really hot sunny day in England. That's what the temperature's like. Oh, I'll just whiz that over there for some reason. This is what some thermometers look like. That's quite an old-fashioned thermometer. We use one that's like a zapper gun at school, don't we? And you have some that go over your forehead like a strip. So we are going to use some scales today to read some different temperatures, and then we're going to write down what the temperature is in degrees C. So like when we were doing measuring in millilitres and in grams and kilograms, we need to work out what the scale is to start with, what we're counting up in. So have a look. It's a bit like a number line, isn't it? What are we counting up in on these two thermometers here? So it goes 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. You've got it. We're counting in tens. Well done. So we're going to look to the point where the grey bit stops, and that's how hot the temperature is on this thermometer. So can you read how hot it is? So we're going to read up to the grey line. The temperature is, brilliant, 90. So 90 is the number. And then to show that it is a temperature, let me go back on there. That's not a very good 9, is it? You can tell I haven't been writing on here for a little while. So 90 is the number. And then to write degrees C, you do a tiny little circle floating in the air and then a C. So 90 degrees C, that's the temperature shown on this thermometer. So that's very hot. It's nearly boiling. Let's have a look at this thermometer here. So you're going to read up the thermometer. It's still counting in tens, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Where does the grey line stop to show the temperature on this one? Brilliant, 40 degrees C. So we write 40. Can you remember how do we show degrees C? Perfect, that little floating circle for degrees, and then C for Celsius, 40 degrees C. Okay, let's have a look. Now, every time you look at a thermometer, I want you to check the scale to make sure you're counting up in the right number. Let's count 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Can you work out what the scale is? It's counting in fives, brilliant. Let's put a little fives up here to remind us. So we're counting in fives this time. Who can tell me what the temperature is on here? I'm sorry if the numbers are a little bit teeny. It's really hard when you're using scale because the numbers do get small. So it goes all the way up to number 60. So what's the temperature? 60 degrees C. Great work. 60 degrees C. 60 degrees Celsius. Fantastic. Now we're still counting in fives on this one over here. What's the temperature? Fantastic. 20 degrees C. Oh, 20 degrees C is a nice sunny early summer's day. So I can't wait until we get nice weather like that. 20 degrees C. Right. More thermometers, and the scale's getting even tinier this time. Teeny weeny numbers. I'm sorry if you're working on a phone, you'll find this hard to spot. Let's see if we can count. Let's count up and work out what the scale is. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. We won't go any further because I bet you've worked it out. We're counting in twos. Fantastic. So this scale is going up in twos. Brilliant. And we're going to count up to the grey bit again, all the way up, and it's 42. And what's the little symbol that we need to show for temperature? Brilliant. 42 degrees C. Fantastic. Still counting in twos. What's the temperature here? Great work, 16 degrees C. Fantastic. This time we've got to show the temperature on this one. So I would like us to mark on the temperature that shows 19 degrees C. So if we have a look at this scale, it goes 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. But then we've got some little lines, a little bit like when we were doing grams and kilograms. So we don't know what those numbers mean. How can we work them out? So if this one's 0 and this one's 5, what do you think all the little lines in between are worth? You're right, I think it's 1. Let's check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So each tiny line is worth 1. So we need to show 19 on here. So we can count up and go 5, 10, 15. 20 is too high. I need to get to 19. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I'm finding 19 and then I'm going to draw across here to show 19 degrees C. Fantastic. Now on this one we need to show 15 degrees C. Where do you think I'm going to draw my line this time? That one's easier. Just find number 15 and go straight across. So you might get some questions like that today as well. So all I would like you to do for today is complete some of the sheets that I'm going to send you, where you'll have to read the scales and write down the temperature, and you'll have to draw the temperature on some of the thermometers as well. If you've got anything at home to measure temperature, you might have a thermometer for your forehead, you might have one that you put in your mouth, you might have a jam thermometer if you make jam at home. If you have a thermometer and you want to have a go at testing the temperature of some different things around your house, then that might be a really fun thing to do as well. So you could test how hot a cup of tea is, you could test how hot a radiator is, how hot your bath is, anything like that. But I want you to have a really good go at doing the sheets as well. Have a fabulous time doing your maths work today. So our celebrity shout outs, I wonder if you've been missing the celebrity shout outs for today, are Charlie Oxley. Hi Charlie, I hope you're doing well. I'm sure you'll be really good at reading the scales today. Hi George, I've seen so much of your work over the last few days. Well done George. And hi, Lucy. I hope you're doing well and keep up the really great work. And I'm going to see you all soon. I can't wait to see you all in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.